All right, guys. So today is just a quick analysis of the charts. Three pairs, gold, NAS, and the US 30 right before CPI, which is at 9:30. Right. So again, I am also preparing for CPI. This video will be that preparation. I just decided to share with you guys also. So let's make this pretty quick. On gold, we overall bullish on the 4 hour time frame. However, price has extended itself a lot. Just a real quick personal opinion, Albas, of course. I do believe we may see a bearish CPI on gold, but let's dive in and see how that looks. All right, so we have all of this strong bullish momentum pushing price to the upside. We have what is looking like potentially a small higher low being formed, but of course, a real higher low is not formed unless price makes at least a 38.2 retracement measured by the Fibonacci tool. All right, so this is too shallow. So again, which is why I am expecting the session open, well, not the session open, but the CPI momentum to push price down into a steeper retracement area where we will get the reversal to take price back to the upside. Right? We also have a lot of consolidation going on the, well, at current price on gold right now. So well, I didn't do much drawing because again, we just kind of just saw this push here on the forward time frame. We're just gonna map out this area of support here. That price has failed to trade below numerous times. So again, price extended itself to the upside and is now currently retracing. But again, it's a pretty much of a shallow retracement. We are still seeing price making, in terms of recent price action, price is still making lower highs, which is giving us the indication that, again, we could see some bearish momentum very soon because the momentum at the moment is bearish. Excuse me. All right. However, also very important to note, we do have this area of support that price has failed to trade below numerous times. But again, in keeping with the overall information that I gave in the beginning, I do have a bearish bias on gold. If we switch the chart to get an inverse look, for some reason I do feel more comfortable. I don't know why that's not doing now. Okay, great. For some reason I do feel more comfortable analyzing the bearish charts. So sometimes I do switch using Alt and I just to switch a chart like that. And then we could get like a clearer base. So again, we are seeing a series of higher lows being formed here. Higher low, price is pushing above. Price did not break below as yet. You could see price maintain support here. And again, just pretty much continue pushing to the upside, well, to the downside, realistically. Where we would see something like this prior to CPI. Okay, so we're looking for this pretty much on gold. Pulse outs. This is how the chart actually looks. This is actually how the chart is. Okay. So that's it for gold pretty much. I want to see price create, well, break below this area finally. Give us a retest. We have 30 minutes. It does not necessarily have to give us a retest, but it can provide us with the break. And then we can now go down on the smaller time frames to see how we can take advantage of the break, or well, of the strong bearish momentum that price will be forming on a specific time frame here. We want to go down on the smaller time frames again and see how we could capitalize on finding an entry to take price down prior to CPI. All right, so again, there is CPI on gold that is subject to change, by the way. The bias is never set in stone. If I see price action forming above this area, closing above this area here, and giving us higher lows before CPI, there's a high probability that I can change the bias from bearish to bullish. All right, so let's go over to NAS. Well, I did do some analysis. Well, I did analysis on NAS last night. Overall bullish. So let's just go over the forward time frame really quickly. All right, so again, we technically are consolidating at the moment in the H4 time frame. But the most recent price action was this very strong bullish push to the upside here. We had a break above the previous high, which means price created new highs, maintaining bullish structure. We have what looks to be like a solid retracement already. So let's go down on the smaller time frames now. Again, tying in what I was saying before on the gold chart, as you can see on NAS, we have the Fib tool here to measure out the retrace, to measure the push move from the swing low to the swing high. We can do this. And again, gold which is the pair before, had a very shallow retracement at probably around here. Price can make shallow retracements depending on how volatile the market is and continue pushing to the upside while maintaining shallow retracements only. However, what we should look for is proper market structure, of course, which is price making a valid higher low, again, at least at the 38.2, which is exactly what price did here. All right, so we had one retracement here. Then we had a higher low actually formed after the retracement at the 38.2. So we had price doing this pretty much. So we had the counter trend. Then we had the higher low form, and now we have another higher low form in here. And now we have price pushing up. So we just want to see price continue to break above this area. I mean, to be very honest, we could actually start to look for some entries very soon in terms of CPI. We just want to get in on, of course, some form of higher low on the smaller time frames. And then we will be taking price to the upside. All right, so bullish on NAS with regards to CPI. Now, this is not the entry that I'm taking, but this is just what essentially the trade that I'll be looking for. If I see a break above this area here on the 5-minute time frame, prior to CPI, I will be getting in. If I see price form some sort of higher low around this area for CPI, I'll be getting in. If price remains trading above this area, which I highly doubt, but again, we just want to look for some sort of bullish confirmation to get into the markets, tying in with the overall higher time frame bullish momentum that we already saw. It has a high probability that the fundamentals are going to drive price in the same direction of the overall bias. That is speaking from historical backtesting, of course. That is quite literally what would happen. And now on gold, sorry, we just saw NAS really quickly now. We usually do NAS in the analysis, but I mean, why not, right? That's clear. Remove that. So we very clearly bullish on the Dow this morning. We are in a bit of a consolidation area, but minor. I mean, higher time frame consolidation area, but minor because of the amount of volatility that index would carry. There's a lot of moves that you can make on the smaller time frames, even though the higher time frame is consolidating. So essentially, what I'm already seeing here, we had a high low that was from here. Support was maintained. Let's change the color. And we have another high low that was formed here. Support maintained. Same thing. So price is essentially just maintaining that bullish momentum. We have a break above the previous high, by the way. So price did create a new high, again, maintaining the bullish momentum. Now we see why it's very important to be able to read market structure clearly, because I could imagine that a lot of people would have possibly arguments about how I just did that. But price never broke below. Price maintained support on the higher time frame, which again is why it's very important to zoom out if you're a bit confused. You get clarification always when you zoom out. So on the Dow, it's essentially we're just looking for price to give us some form of retracement. Let's go down on the smaller time frames. I feel like this actually looks more high probability than the others at the moment. We could even use a flip tool to help us determine where we could get an entry. All right, so we have this push to the upside here. We have the last higher low that was formed, showing us that we have bullish momentum maintained on this bullish move here. And now we have the beginning of the counter trend. So let's go down on the smaller time frames and we will analyze the bearish momentum that price is making. So again, price failed to trade higher here. So we draw that out. We have a break below support here. So price is counter trending currently. Price is breaking below. Price is trading below previous price, creating new lows, sorry. And of course, it will then be creating lower highs. All right, so we essentially want to see price come down to this area here. So that's the 38.2 prior to CPI, where the timing should align perfectly, more or less. That again, from historical backtesting, this is usually what happens with market timing and volatility. So you would get the counter trend pushing down prior to the news, and usually around the time of the news, the market would give us a switch. You would have to go down on these small time frames to see this, of course. The market is going to give us a switch in terms of momentum, such as a high low like this. and we'll be getting in on one of the initial highs down here to take price to the upside for CPI. All right, so essentially, again, that is a really quick rundown analysis of how I'm going to be taking advantage of CPI today. You guys will definitely see the results of these in the next video, okay? Now, have a good trading day. Be safe on CPI. Be careful. And all the best, of course. Take care, guys.